We'll get started. Let me add Jordan in the room. Can we all just document the fact that my hair is done today and it's not in a braid? That's pretty monumental. I got my hair cut finally today. I was like, my son's had 6 haircuts since he's been born. It's time for me to get a haircut. So, all right. So,
Looks great.
thank you. All right. So we kind of just have a lot to discuss today, but I feel like we're making really good progress on everything. I was just looking at the document. Evaluation team, as I mentioned, good job coming up with some questions. I know it can be difficult to come up with evaluation questions after the program's already been in existence and doing stuff for a while, and then they already have data, and then you're kind of like forced to come up with questions that you can actually answer with the data or that they can actually collect. So really good job on that. I'll give the class some time to look at those today. I feel like today might just be a little more of a show and tell type thing where people can go over their products. We can do some live feedback. And I personally always got mad when I was a student, like, really, we're doing this live in class? Like, can't we just do it on our own time? No, because you never actually do it on your own time. And it never happens. And it's kind of just good to get it all done. And then after class, you can go, phew, I don't have anything to work on. So I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you past Amy, because I know you never liked when your professors do that, but I get why they do it. It makes sense. So I'm going to pull up the document, go over a couple of assignments. We can just go over last minute questions, but I'm really impressed. This is coming together really good. Outside of the last 2 assignments we have to do, of course, we have to finalize the document, come up with a presentation, but that's in a month from now. So I feel like we're in a really good spot. It's not like we're panicking having to do that next week. So really good job with that. So I'm going to start by just going over the next 2 assignments that we have on our plate. I added this assignment 7 because we didn't have qualitative data, right? And I want you to get exposure to qualitative data a little bit. So it was in the module. Hopefully you learned a few things, but I'm sorry that they didn't provide qualitative data. Unfortunately, you kind of, every class who takes evaluation, they'll get a little bit of a different experience each time they take it. Like, one class, they didn't even have a program. The next program, they had qualitative and quantitative. This one, we just have what we have with the quantitative, but which is kind of fun because they're giving us a lot of creative control to do what we want for this. So this one is written summary of data analysis and results. And I don't want you to panic for this one if you're not really the best at stats. And I know someone reached out to me. They're like, I don't have SPSS in my computer. That's okay. The data set they provided to us was in Excel that we've been looking at all this time. So you can analyze some stuff in Excel if you want to, or if you're really savvy and know how to copy it over to SPSS. I always personally like doing that because I was able to run stats better in SPSS, but do whatever works best for you. And you don't even really have to do more than frequencies and descriptives if that's all that you feel comfortable doing. This isn't a stats class. But if you are really into it and want to do more, dive into it. This is kind of your opportunity to really look at it and provide stuff that they might have missed. So let me explain this and then we can discuss questions. Oops, I don't know how that happened. Technology. All right, meant to hit the Zoom button. All right, so for this one, you're gonna really reflect on what we've learned in module 8, 9, and 10. And that was looking at quantitative data, cleaning it, qualitative data, which we don't have. So just, reflect on all that we learned during that time. And what we're going to do is quantitative data cleaning. And I'll be honest, there might not be much to do because the document was pretty solid. I know Christine went through and documented some things that could be added that I don't know if it's in the final document or she just uploaded it on Canvas for me, but I know we've all came up with some things that's missing in it. And I know that we recognize that they stopped collecting, I don't know if it was like age group or something in one of the categories. So reflect on that stuff, see if there's anything else that needs clean or fix or coding could be better. And I just want you to spend some time looking at the data set. Is everything clean? Is it coded appropriately? Are they doing something wrong? This is just a good way for you to look at it and be like, please just don't say it looks good to me, unless if you really did look through it for like 10 minutes and 15 minutes and you're like, I can't find anything. But really just look through it and be like, oh, this could be fixed or this could be cleaned up a little bit. That's all I really want you to do for that one. And some of you might really geek out on that and have fun doing it. And other people, you might not be as familiar with that stuff, which is fine too. So then for the quantitative data analysis, I just want you to spend some time running some statistics, or maybe you can't. Here's the other thing too, not write this down or keep it in your brain too. Maybe you don't know how to run the stats, but you're like, oh, it'd be really cool if we ran a regression for this, or if they collected this data, we were able to figure out this, right? Like some of you are really stats heavy, and or maybe you don't know how to run it, but you think it would be cool to find that out. Jot all that stuff down too, right? Just think that anything that you think would be good for them to know, and bonus points if you can actually run it and produce something pretty that we can put in the report. That would be most helpful, rather than I mean, I can't make you do it because some of you aren't experienced with it, but if you're able to do something, I know a few of you have been doing awesome in this category. Maybe you weren't assigned that role and you want to do something else. For those of you who have been working on it, maybe try to think of one more thing that you can come up with, or something that would be fun, but don't panic if you're like, I already made 3 of these and I don't know what else to do. But just talk about that there. A question you might have is how many paragraphs, how much? The best you can. Honestly, just put your effort into it, give what you can for this. But hopefully not just a sentence like, there's nothing I want to run. That probably wouldn't be very helpful. Then for qualitative data analysis, since we don't have any qualitative data, I would like you to write a few paragraphs about what qualitative data is, the importance of it, and ways that they could incorporate qualitative data collection. And we're actually going to look at 2 examples of interview guides. I created one and Sarah's been working on another one today. So we're going to look at that today as well. So just so you have some exposure to it, maybe you can give some feedback. We will upload it to the shared drive so people can edit it as well too. So that's all I want you to do for that. I know I wrote a few paragraphs. A few can mean 2. So 2 paragraphs about just qualitative data analysis. So maybe one explaining what it is, the importance of it, and then paragraph 2 could be like, what would be some ways that they could collect qualitative data and how that would help. Then the results section of your report is just where you report the findings of anything that you ran. Share it very plain, simple, so anyone can read it and understand that there. So that is the main assignment that we have. I don't think that I have it due. Yeah, it's not due till April 14th. So please, please, please take some time on it. I'm going to ask you if you just submitted it to submit it. And I'll look through it, but if you have time, later this week to give a little more effort, I would really appreciate that there. So, any questions about that assignment? And if some of you want to work together on it too, I will give you that opportunity as well. So I know some of you, like say Macy and Kendall, you guys spend a lot of time together and you're like, it'd be helpful for us to, work on this together and come up with some. Great, 2 heads are better than 1 sometimes. So if you want to work with your group individually, with someone, just a random person in the class who's not in your group, that's fine too. I'm not picky on that. All right, let's then look at the the health education one. Okay, so this one will hopefully be a completely different assignment. So the first one we talked about is like statistics and writing and all that stuff. And this is for the creative people in the class. This is an opportunity for you just to make a health education material that would be beneficial for healthy mamas. So if you want to make a brochure, if you want to make a flyer, if you want to make, stuff that could go on social media, whatever you want, this is your opportunity to be creative for this. But make sure that you're writing at like a 6th grade reading level. You're not using big words and, like you're writing an essay for your comprehensive exams. Make sure that this is something that anyone could read and understand. And I was also just thinking about this too the other day. Like when you have kids, you take them to like an appointment every 3 months. And, I took my son to the dentist. Like we've had so many appointments this last week. And every time I get home, my husband's like, what did the dentist say? I'm like, I don't know. She was saying something about like in the front of his teeth with the gum, but asked me if there were problems. And he was like, what did she say it was? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, what do we have to do? And I'm like, I don't know. He was screaming the whole time and I don't know. And I was like, she said he was fine. And he was like, and I was like, wouldn't it be great? I mean, this is another opportunity, but like to help create stuff for like dentists, like give people like for their kids, like if you have this or at your 3-month appointment, your 6-month appointment, here's some, you know, milestones, or here's what they have, or this is a recap of what you have. I just thought that would be really great. So when scattered parents like me go into their appointment and leave going, I don't know what happened, like they can be like, oh, here's everything, right? This is what I'm supposed to do. So I was like, maybe it would be fun to work with like a doctor's office or pediatric dentist office. But anyways, this is like stuff that you would create for helping mamas that, you know, when they tell somebody about, you know, safe sleep or pumping and cleaning out their parts or how to do a car seat safely or installation or where you can go to do this and that or the other, it'd be nice to have something to hand out to them. So this is your opportunity to work on that. I don't really have anything except for, you know, 6th grade reading level, fun, attractive. It's not due November 19th. I think this one's due, the 14th is when that one's due, and then I think this one's due the 21st. So you have some time to work on these. But feel free to email it to me, or, you know, just put it on the shared drive and people can give feedback on that as well. So those are the last 2 assignments we have to do, except for, you know, just finalizing what your group's been doing. So does anyone want to, a couple things I did want to go over today. I want Sarah to share her interview guide. I'll share the one I made. If the green group could just share their evaluation questions so the class is familiar about like what they came up with, how they documented that. I did want to take a look at that survey again. I know no one jumped on it last time, but maybe it's because I need to give you an enticing offer. How about if someone does this one, they don't have to do the health education assignment? Remember how she has that 1-page survey? If someone just wanted to fix that and make it look better, or maybe even add pictures to it, stuff like that, that would be wonderful. Or we can have it in a class project one day and work on it. But I wanted to pull that up again, see if anyone's interested in that, because that is one thing that she did ask, if we could look at that survey, give feedback. Okay, all right, perfect. Macy, be in contact with you or email me after class and I'll make sure I get that to you. So thank you for that. Let's see what else. The 2 groups who were just working on the data analysis plan, we can share updates about that. Timelines for presentation and stuff like that. So Cindy, and then was it, I know it wasn't Kendall, Macy, were you the one who created the quantitative survey for the class?
Yes, I was.
Okay, if you don't mind sharing that with the class again today too, if you're in a position to where you can share your screen, that could be something else that we have on our to-do list today. So I'll be honest, my intention is that we shouldn't actually have to meet next Thursday. So if we, so I was just thinking, I was like, it's a lot of working on the data analysis, creating your health brochure, and then we can meet after that and then really just kick out the rest of it. So I want to give you time to work on that. And of course we can meet if you want to, or, you know, you just want to chat about personal projects, but I was just thinking for a group meeting, I don't think we necessarily have to meet next Thursday. So that's why I just wanted all the updates today. Instead of having 2 short 30-minute meetings, I could, you know, utilize your time and get it all done. So does anyone want to share anything first or give any updates on what they've been working on? All right, we can just go in order then. I can pull, or would it be helpful, evaluation team, would it just be helpful if I pulled up the evaluation questions and maybe you could explain them if you wanted to, or the class can read it? And if you see something that needs edited, like, oh, you wrote the word and twice in a row, or can you explain this one a little bit better? Let's do that, because I think that might be helpful for everybody to just see the final paper all at once and we can move from there. Also, I can just walk through what I'm kind of expecting from people too. Let me try to make this bigger. Okay, at any time, pause me, or I guess you can't really pause me. Unmute yourself and tell me you want to talk. Okay, so the executive summary, as you mentioned, I think Rachel Valentine, you put on the announcement that you'll get this done once the paper's done, which I completely agree. This is the last step of everything. So there's not really much you can do for this one yet, but you do know that you have to just fill in all that part. Introduction looks great from the first team we're good all the way there. Okay, so if you guys want to, if anyone just on, what doesn't matter what group you're in, you don't have to do this now. When you are looking at this document, I can put it in the chat again too. If anyone's just, really likes editing, I think I might have to. Oh, there's the chat. If anyone likes editing, please go through and fix any grammatical errors or add anything into the introduction that you think. Right there. I'm gonna tab that over. Okay, logic model group. Jordan, I'm just seeing your face because I can only see 4 screens right now. Do you mind sharing what you wrote for the logic model group, your if-then statements, anything you want to share about this? You don't have to read it all, but anything you want to comment about the logic models? Or anyone else on Jordan's team? That's just what I've seen.
I was going to say the big thing was that we kind of consolidated everyone's logic models into 3 main areas. And there was one for the feminine products, one for the diapers, and one for the car seats.
Yes.
So there should be 3 logic models.
Okay.
And yeah, we consolidated everyone's into those 3.
Okay, and then for the statements, you just consolidated everyone's verbiage for that as well to provide what logic model. I don't even know if I typed some of that stuff, but you explained what logic models are. And then I know I just copied and pasted if-then statements. Did you guys look through those yet, or were they?
I have not, but I will put it on my to-do list to look through that because I can't recall who added that in. I don't know if someone else.
No, I added it in.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just added a template there, and so that's why I am glad that I brought this up. I don't even remember. I just was copying. I think I just picked like 2 students if-then statements. So if you guys want to go through and actually make sure that these ones, the flow is good, it actually matches with the logic models, stuff like that. If that could be on your team's radar to just go through those if-then statements, because I think
And would you want 3 separate if-then statements for each logic model, or could we maybe do like if baby products, feminine products, and car seats are bought, then?
That's an excellent question. So I think it would probably be best to have one for each.
Okay.
Or if you're noticing you're repeating yourself a lot because it's more like collecting items, things like that, then you can do one larger one. So I will give you guys creative control for that one. Up to you. Run it by me if you have questions, but if I'll put a note here.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Okay. Sorry, you guys were covering the chat, so I couldn't see. All right, I'll put that there. So remember, okay, so then otherwise we're looking really solid there. Okay, so valuation questions. Does anyone want to talk about it if you wrote it, or do you just want me to read through it? How about I'll look through the, go ahead.
I have a question. So I know the evaluation questions and like up top of the paper too. Are we supposed to put our questions up top as well?
So for the executive summary, it's just like a short recap of what you're going to see in the paper. So what you would just say, like for the valuation question, this is a great question, Amber. You would say just like right up here, if that's the one you wanted to focus on, what were the top 5 items discarded in there? And then you just put a brief answer. And then additional details can be found in the valuation report on page, and then we'll fill that in at the time. Does that make sense?
So we are answering our questions. Are we answering our questions based on assignment number 7 that we're about to work on?
So that's what I was going to say. So let me, before I answer that, let me actually look at, can you answer this for me? All the evaluation questions you came up, can those be answered, or would those be things that would be helpful for them to eventually answer?
I feel like mine were for them to answer.
Okay, like later on.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would hope you would do, or if you could do this, it would be helpful. Could you go through your evaluation questions, and the one that you can give a quick answer to, do that, and the ones that you can't, don't, obviously, and then the ones that group 7 or assignment 7, we can go through and we can add those in there that people come up with. that make sense?
They can be like different. Like I can come up with 2 other questions that aren't where you're at right now on the paper. Like I can have.
Absolutely, absolutely. So ideally, in a perfect world, the answer would be no, because you would come up with the goals and objectives in your evaluation questions, and then that's what you would collect data for to answer, right? But that's not how it's working for this class. We've asked her like several times, like, what are your goals? And like, they can't really answer it. So we're just coming up with our own, right? So, I mean, what we're doing isn't wrong, but it's messy. Does that make sense? Like, we're like, okay, we're trying to find stuff to answer, which is kind of what evaluation is. Sometimes you're digging deep to find stuff that they might not know. So yes, that's what you're gonna do, but please go through if there are questions, like you can answer that one, put that in there. Okay, good job, with the graphs that go with this. And again, feel free to, maybe next week, that's what I'll have you do, if everyone can just like during class time, like review the document, add any comments in it, write what you did. I think that would be really helpful as well once we get more stuff in it. How many social workers or individualized utilize? Yeah, I don't think we have the answer for that one. So, how many individuals participate in community outreach booths? Okay. How many items are being purchased? Yep. Were we able to answer this one? Are being purchased versus usable donated items? I think. Do you guys know if you'll find out. That's something else too. If you're able to, for assignment 7, if you want to go through some of these evaluation questions and look and see if you can answer some of the stuff and then plop your graph in, that would be really helpful as well. So that's why I think it is helpful to look at these now as a class. What items are most in demand? Perfect there. Yeah, you guys are doing a really good job with this. Fantastic. Yeah, this is some of the stuff we can then share. Okay, and then Guy, are you here today?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to share with the class some of the stuff that you found that you have in Appendix A?
Yeah, I just picked a few different videos that have different instructions. One about changing a diaper, installing a car seat, and then soothing a crying baby, and I added the links to those videos down in the appendix.
Okay.
And I think there were 2 other students that had videos too, but I don't think they've added them yet.
I know Allison had stuff to add as well. Oh, Allison, did you had
Yeah,
stuff
I
where
started stuff. I don't know if it's in that final one yet. I can go at it.
yeah,
Because I had the same kind of videos like soothe the baby, install car seats.
Perfect.
So I'll have to check, yeah.
Sorry, I can't see what I'm typing. So hopefully that says Allison add videos that aren't duplicates. Okay, perfect. Because I know I've seen yours before, Allison. I just wasn't sure where they were at. So yeah, if there's something that you did create that isn't on here yet, please add that in.
And then I also have links for like pre-made like infographics.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
I can add that in too.
That would be fantastic. Just another thing with reference lists. So remember, for the titles of things that aren't journal article or that are journal articles, just the E and examining would be their examining material. Was it supposed to say material? Yeah. Material, hardship, and mothers. And then the A is capitalized because it's after the colon, and then all that stuff will be lowercase. I won't spend too much time doing that. Someone can go through and fix that, or I can just do it later. This one's perfect there. See how P and period and the W after there. So good job. We can go through the reference list at the end, make sure everything's there. Oh, Sky, thank you for adding that. That looks really good there. Okay, grant opportunities. Was this Jordan and Laurel? I believe so.
Yes.
Okay, looks really good. Very, very nice table. Thank you for that. And then Amber, thank you for creating this flyer. I'll make, oops. Made it too big. Thank you for creating that. So like, this is something, I'm just making stuff crazy. This is like, I'll fix that later too. This is just, an example of something that, you could make, like if you want to make a flyer or you want to make an educational brochure or anything that you think would be helpful. I love the QR codes at the bottom there. And then we'll just keep adding people's health education brochures at the end there once those get submitted. So Any questions about this document at first?
I have a random question. Do we need to have like instructional video on how to use like a breast pump, or is that pretty self-explanatory?
Oh gosh, that'd be very helpful, I think. Yeah, if there's one
Okay.
out there, yeah. I didn't know how to use one at first when I got one. I was like, what is this crazy thing, right? Wait, there's different sizes. Like, how do you like, yeah, I think that would be helpful. Yeah, if you're able to find that. Anyone else? Okay, I know you guys have just been talking briefly, the two groups. I'm striking out on names. If anyone wants to be brave enough, do you guys want to give me an update? I know you were supposed to come up with a data analysis plan for quantitative, and the other group was looking at qualitative. I know it was a lot to look at. Where are you guys at on the process? What help do you need? What did you find? What are you struggling with? How's that going?
I'm in the yellow group and we're working on the quantitative information. We have a Google Doc going and we're still going through the documents, and we've split it up between each of us. But we're still compiling it, and we need to go through and make sure everything is cohesive and whatnot. But yeah, we're still working on that one.
Okay, perfect.
Can we add you to that Google Doc so we know if we're on the right track?
Yes, I would appreciate that. That'd be great.
Okay, I'll get you
Yep,
added
and
to
just
it.
remember, you're taking everyone's ideas and coming up with a data analysis plan that Helping Mamas could use in addition to what they're already doing, or something else to collect data that they don't have that would be helpful. Is that what you guys were doing? Or just taking what everyone did?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. Anyone else from the group want to chime in there?
Dr. Watchering, I have a question about the assignment we're supposed to have that is due April 14. So I see that on there you have a data analysis where you said we're going to use SPSS. I was trying to figure out, is that supposed to be a group assignment? Is that supposed to be an individual assignment?
It is individual, but you can work with your group, or you can work with someone in the class who isn't in your group. That's completely up to you. So, say Laurel's like, I don't really want to work with anyone. I'm just going to do it myself and get it done. Friday night, boom. Or some of you might want to work with some of your team. Completely up to you. And I know I said SPSS, but you were provided Excel documents, so you don't have to move it over to SPSS. You can just analyze stuff in Excel if you like doing that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, anyone else in the quantitative group? Is everyone able to contact everyone in your group so far? Okay, perfect. Okay, qualitative group.
Yeah, I can give an update about what we've had going on.
Perfect.
So pretty much so far, we've collected and kind of lumped together those interview guides and the similar topics, and we're just getting ready to summarize them and then turn them into one final piece. And I don't know if Allison wanted to chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that today I finished going through all the ones that are qualitative. And so we have a Google Doc too going. So I just kind of listed a summary of what they wanted to do. So like if it was a focus group or a survey, who they were doing it for, like if it was for the caseworkers or for mamas. And then I listed kind of their questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way we'd split it up. So then someone else is going to come behind and start like grouping them up together.
Okay, sounds really good on my end. All right, cool. Thank you. I know it's Leslie, did you have something else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when do you think we should have like our full part done? I don't know. Just to give us something like a goal.
Yeah, so if you guys want to utilize April 11th for quantitative group and qualitative group to meet during class time, or if you guys all want to meet another time, but it would be helpful if you guys maybe wanted to have your own separate meetings and go over it, get everything finalized, and send it over to me so I can review it. If you guys meet the 11th, would it be okay to have something in by like the 14th?
Yeah, I think that sounds doable to me.
Okay, all right, cool. And then
I
you
think
can
that's
use,
what I think that's what we were shooting for, wasn't it, Leslie?
I believe so.
okay, perfect. So then, yeah, if you guys, need to or want to, you have Thursday open for you to get together as a group and come up with the final conclusion for everything you want there, so, okay. I'm actually pretty impressed with my memory, remembering everything. Sarah or Macy, did one of you or either of you want to share your survey?
Yes, I can share mine real quick.
Okay, let me make you co-host. What is steaming in your background? Your house isn't on fire, is it?
No, I'm making pasta.
That's what I was gonna guess, sorry.
Hang on one second.
Nope, you're good. And I'm gonna pull up another interview guide, so I have it ready when you're done. Sarah, I actually think I have yours up too, so I can pull that up for you if that's easier. As well.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Can you
I can
see
go
my
over it pretty
screen?
Yes, and those are very cute pictures in the background.
Okay, so the one that I did was for the case managers and partners. Do you want me to just like read through it or?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay. So they're filling out this form to help them understand what processes and are working with their partnerships and what could be improved.
If you want to make the I and indicate lowercase, you should for that one. And if second line, please indicate in which.
Yes.
Yep, and if you guys see anything, write it in the chat, so she can fix that as well, or unmute yourself as well. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so they will indicate which capacity they work with helping mamas, whether that's a distributing agency or a caseworker or manager is technically the term that they use. So let me change that. And then the second question, what products do you distribute most often on a weekly basis? Diapers, car seats, period supplies, formula, wipes, and other baby needs, or all products are distributed equally.
I would suggest if you could make formula and wipes their own separate lines.
Okay.
So you can analyze the difference between that, and then at the bottom you could have other baby needs or something like that.
They also collect clothes. When I was doing one of the assignments, they collect clothes from like ages 0 to 14 years. So I don't know if that's something we want to add as well.
Yep, good catch. I think there's something.
There should be a separate like baby clothing and then mother clothing, or like is all the clothing just for the babies?
I don't know if they do like maternity clothing. It just said up to ages 14. So I feel like clothing could just be everybody's
Okay.
clothing.
Yeah, I agree. On a weekly basis, seeing what products you distribute the most. Yeah, you could just have what products you distribute the most. You can remove or you could just what products do you distribute most often. Yeah, you can just have that, or
I kind of like when I was doing my evaluation questions, I feel like it's easiest or to evaluate if you know how often.
yeah.
Because if you do like a monthly or weekly or like it makes it harder to evaluate in my opinion. So I kind of liked the weekly just
Okay.
because you know how much, because then they know how much they need to have on hand too. Because if they know, hey,
Mhm.
we distribute this much every week, we need to make sure we have this much coming in as well.
Okay.
And that's how I've been seeing my evaluation questions. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that.
No, the more specific can be, the better. Do you think that we need to ask weekly or monthly?
I like weekly, but monthly would also work. It's
Let's
just
just keep weekly. If you and Macy are both thinking that, what products do you distribute most each week or something like that?
but it also depends because I don't know how often they get shipments, right? So a social worker might be weekly, but the distribution people that they use might be monthly.
Mhm.
Well, I could add a separate question that asks about the overall month. I don't know if that's too much, but because things might kind of change throughout the month, like, within the first week, they're distributing wipes, but towards the end of the month, people need more clothing.
So I also have a question too. Yeah, because what if like I equally distribute diapers and wipes, right? Like, can I like pick one?
No, I can make it check boxes.
Okay, let's do check boxes. What products do you distribute? Yeah, okay, let's do check boxes. Something just popped up in the chat. Yeah, 2 questions could be helpful. Yeah, select all that apply. What products? Maybe what products do you distribute the most each week? Okay. Sorry, I feel like we're in a survey design class right now. Do you think that's redundant or should we ask them?
I don't know.
Let's keep it how it is now and we can ask Tess at the meeting, right? This would be a great example of something to ask, like, do you want weekly, monthly, both? Okay, you can keep scrolling.
Okay, what populations do you serve and distribute products to most often?
Do you want that to be a check all that apply, or could that just be like, what populations do you serve? Well, because they could, yeah, I like what populations do you distribute products to most often? Yeah, and then you can have check all that apply as well. Okay.
What makes up the majority of the demographic that you serve?
Okay.
Any comments on that one?
Sometimes too, you don't have to fix this right now, but it's helpful to have your answers in descending order for race. So like Asian, then Black or African American, you know what I mean, or American Indian.
Yeah. Like in alphabetical
Yeah,
order.
just so they're not searching for it. Sometimes that's just I've learned is helpful.
Yes, okay. What types of distribution of products is your organization doing most frequently? So indirectly would be like them, like I remember she was saying like they do it at churches where they just like put it in the bathrooms like for the
Right.
period products or whatever. So that was my thought on that. And then directly in an office, directly at a distribution event, or directly at a community event, which to me, like a distribution event is like where they go specifically for the distribution of the products. And then a community event would be like for example, I went to a community event in Western Heights, which is a neighborhood in Knoxville, and that was what we gave out was period products, but that's not typically what we do in at events. So I feel like that there should be a little bit of a distinction between those two things, but I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think.
Any comments? You could rephrase distribution event to helping mama's distribution event.
I feel like that doesn't sound right. What types of
Could you change it just in the answer where it says directly at a HMK distribution event?
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I think that might help keep them clear for people who aren't thinking like we are. It's just why I've said that.
No, I agree with
I
you.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can all proofread this later and look at it again another time.
What products is your community in need of that Helping Mamas Knoxville could provide that are not already being provided?
Okay.
How effective do you feel Helping Mamas Knoxville's communication with you is with you as a partner?
Okay.
How likely are you to recommend other agencies to partner with Helping Mamas Knoxville?
Okay.
How appreciated do you feel as a partner? If you're a caseworker or manager, how well do you feel that Helping Mamas Knoxville helps you navigate your caseload?
Okay.
And do you have any suggestions for how Helping Mamas can improve their experience for partners?
Looks good to me. Look, scales need to be reversed. Yeah, that is true. So thank you. Good point, Christine. So you sometimes think like,
Yes, I see what you're saying.
yeah, okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. And then if you could stop sharing your screen for this one, and you can feel free to edit
Yes,
that.
sorry.
No, you're good. No, sorry. I am going to pull up 2 examples of interview guides that we came up with. Sarah's is for the client, and I created one for the social workers as well. I have so many Word documents open. We'll see which one pops up first. Okay, let me pull that over. Okay. And we're not gonna have time to go through it like we did with the survey one, because these are a little bit longer, but Sarah, I'll go over the introduction part, and if you want to talk about the questions you have, and if anyone thinks that they have a good qualitative question or quantitative question that should be added, please put it in the chat or email me, and so we can get that done there. But so for this, Sarah and I followed a very similar template. So you would record the date, the interviewer, so the person who actually conducted the interview, because maybe they did shorthand for something, or someone's like going through this and they're like, I don't really know what they wrote. So I'm gonna have these uploaded on the drive, and people can go through these. These will be in the appendices, and we can give feedback on that too. But this is a client edition, so you always want to, the person conducting the phone interview, say hello, introduce yourself, explain the organization, ask them if they're available to do, a brief 10-20 minute conversation. Sarah, we might have to try to get this down to like 10 to 15 minutes. And of course we would, pilot test it to see how long it takes. But, someone's like, oh, I'm busy right now, I'm cooking dinner. You always want to ask, well, when would be a better time for me to call? And you can jot it down and then move to the next one. So once you agree to get them to participate, we suggested that they or you ask if they can record this. So you don't have to worry about frantically writing stuff down. So Sarah, do you want to talk about any of the questions that you have? And I can scroll a little bit while you chat about it. You don't have to read them word for words, but what was your goal for this interview? What were you hoping to find from the clients?
I'll just do kind of an overall
that'd
on
be
it,
great.
because I followed very closely the template that you had, so that if it were a working template, they would understand exactly that it's running along the same ideas. Now, where you put like where it says 20 minutes,
Yeah,
that makes sense when you said to do it a little less. So you could possibly just say, are you available to speak for a few minutes, and then just let the conversation take over itself, and just have in your mind or like a paper off to the side of what are the highlights you want to hit. And when they're done talking, at least you hit those highlights.
that's very true. Get the most important questions first. Yeah, I agree. Because it's like,
Because some people want to talk and some don't.
yeah, completely agree there. Okay, so go ahead.
I mean, you can scroll if you want to. I only put the original one that I had a lot more detailed information, but again, like you said, there's kind of dial it back a little bit. Basically, just wanting to get the information on, what they feel they would like to receive, what they are receiving, what their needs are, what the community needs are, and kind of get an idea as the best way to serve them, and how to, a lot of times when you have a program going, it's best to have them as part of your, what is that word? I'm losing it. The one that they said that we can't use anymore because it's no longer politically correct. Stakeholders.
Stakeholders.
Yes, because they're actually one of your main stakeholders in this is your client.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that their input is right up there with everything else. So this is basically just some highlights. There are other things that you can add into it, take out of it, but it's just letting the person know that they are heard. You want to know what their community needs. Each community is going to have different needs, and just kind of touching on that.
Perfect. And I just wanted to say, so if you guys want to look through that, give any comments. I'm gonna pull up the one I did because I created one that was for the social workers. Because just as she mentioned, it's good to know the client's perspective on things, but also like, you know, the social workers or case workers or managers, because they're the ones on the ground floor, right? They're the ones seeing these patients. So it's interesting to see the response from the workers and the clients and see what they both agree on, what there's, you know, differences in, and you know, what we can come with there. Let me pull this up real quick. Evaluation of helping.
And that's kind of why I followed the template that you sent so closely and the one that you did so closely, is because you're essentially asking a lot of the same questions, but one is going to be from the person's point of view that is helping the population, where the other one's going to be from the population's point of view. And it'll
Right.
be easier to match them since they're on the same template.
I completely agree with you on that one. And then let me pull up the social worker one. So very similar format as that, as we mentioned. And so getting consent, recording, and then asking them, like, what are you seeing? Tell me about the parents you work with. Tell me about the population. What's going on out there? What are patients, or we can word those around. I didn't know what to call them: parents, patients, clients, whatever, but we'll get consistency on that. Like, what are the most barriers you're seeing? And I think that's interesting to see what the caseworkers are saying the barriers are versus the clients saying the barriers are, because they might be very different things, which is interesting because the caseworkers might recognize something that the clients don't or parents don't, and vice versa. So, and then asking, what are their biggest challenges, barriers? What do they need that they're not getting help to? What do you know about helping mamas in Knoxville? Are they respected in the community? You know, what do they do? We can always scrap some of that stuff too. It's more important to know the beginning questions. And then what have you liked most about your job in collaboration, right? We want to make sure that these people like their job and are, you know, see the value in it and want to make a difference, right? What are the strengths of the organization? How can your job be improved? What do you like least? You know, any questions or concerns at the end. So we trying to keep this, you know, short and sweet to where that they can not be stressed out. Like, I don't want to talk to you on the phone for 30 minutes, but I want to actually get something that's helpful. So we've been working on there. Macy, I know that you said that you work on that other survey, and that can replace the health education brochure for you, because that'll definitely take you some time. Am I missing anything else? Oh, the social worker interview guide and the what they're not employees, what are they? The participants in the program or the people receiving resources. You don't have access to this yet. I will copy and paste it and put it on the Google Doc drive after class. So you guys can all review that in place of class next week. So do you think that's fair? We moving in the right direction? Is anyone like, I'm noticing a big red flag, or we're missing something that's really important? Please put it on my radar, because I'm trying to, this is just such a huge project. So I think we're covering everything there. Oh, here's another one we can do in place of one of the assignments. Would somebody be interested in creating the final presentation PowerPoint slide again and doing that for the class to have someone interested in doing that? Thanks, Amber. I wasn't going to volunteer you to do it twice, but you've just been on a roll this semester. So you already have your flyer in that you have on the document. So don't worry about creating another educational piece. Just getting the PowerPoint slides and all that. So thank you for managing that. I would panic if I had to deal with all these documents and stuff. So Okay, perfect. Yeah. I also, there is one group that, is gonna do the final like proofread for the report, but yeah, Jordan, the more eyes on it, the better. I appreciate, you doing that. So, all right,
For
so.
the final PowerPoint, do you want it to be outlined like the paper? So we have um the introduction, table of contents, background, like you want it to be outlined just like the paper's outlined.
It doesn't have to be as much, like you don't need the table of context and all that stuff because it's probably gonna be a short, like 15-20 minute presentation at most, and she can review the document on her own. But you know, maybe just like some of the stuff that we've created. This will be more about data analysis plans, some of the results we found, final evaluation questions, health education materials, more stuff like that. Like we don't need to go through and give an introduction again about like what Healthy Mamas is and the grant reports. We've already done that stuff. So just it can be the same layout as a midterm one, just more information. Or different information, I guess, so. All right. Is anyone like actually shocked we're pulling this off?
I'm just excited we have 5 weeks left.
It's been a lot, and you all have been my guinea pigs for the semester, so you're doing a great job. I hope that you're enjoying this. I know it's been a lot, so I really appreciate everyone going above and beyond and doing things, even if it's not for points or, you know, it's not a required assignment. I really appreciate that. It makes me so proud to see all the good work you guys are doing for that. So I will,